History is not only written in books. Sometimes it is sung in alleys, whispered in cradles, carried by children whose voices outlast the clash of empires. In Harar, where stone walls guarded memory, voices became the final fortress. They sang of Fatima Bint Mahfuz, the widow who preserved when kings had fallen. Her story became a verse, and that verse became a legacy, one the Horn of Africa still sings. The orphans of war carried more than sorrow. They carried memory. In Harar's narrow alleys, where laughter mingled with prayer, children's games echoed with chants. They recited not only the verses of Quran, but lines woven by grief and gratitude, the widow who turned ashes into hope, the queen who lifted the broken. Their voices, fragile yet fierce, transformed trauma into rhythm. No army could silence them, for their songs did not belong to soldiers. They belonged to memory itself. In their chants, the battle was not lost. It was reborn as a story. If children gave melody to memory, women gave it endurance. In kitchens while grinding grain, they repeated Fatima's story like a blessing. In courtyards, mothers taught daughters verses, honoring the woman who became their shield when swords failed. Her legacy flowed not through decrees or chronicles, but through lullabies and chants. These songs were carried into marriages, into markets, into the very rhythms of Harar's life. For when women sing, generations remember. And when mothers carry a queen's story, no crown can rival its endurance. Harar itself became a city of voices. The call to prayer rose from minarets, blending with alley chants that carried Fatima's memory. Verses honoring her were sung beside Quranic recitation, not as worship, but as remembrance. The people of Harar turned grief into hymn, loss into melody, and leadership into verse. In every alley, a different cadence. In every courtyard, a different song. The city had once echoed with steel and fire, but now it rang with memory, stitched into rhythm, a music that no empire could erase. Fatima had worn no diadem of gold, yet in the voices of children, she was crowned with something brighter than jewels. Their songs carried her name across generations, their verses lifting her higher than any throne. No fire could consume what was sung. No empire could silence what was remembered in rhythm. Her cloak had been bloodied, her path marked by grief, but her crown was melody, the crown of song. And it still gleams in Harar's alleys, in its chants, in the last verse that is always the first of another. The war had ended, but the voice endured. Fatima Bint Mahfuz, the widow of Harar, had fought with endurance, ruled with wisdom, and guarded with memory. Yet her greatest victory was this, that children sang her story. As long as chants rise in Harar's alleys, her crown remains unbroken. For the last verse was never an ending. It was a beginning, a melody still carried in the breath of a people who refuse to forget.